On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we are predicting the Broncos 53-man roster, and as Sean Payton said, there are a lot of tough decisions. Which running backs make the team? Does Audric Estime sneak on to the 53-man roster? How many quarterbacks, wide receivers? So much to get into. Plus, could this lead to the Broncos making a couple of trades in the next week? We're breaking it down starting now. Just like that, we are 1 week away from NFL Cut Day. By 2 p.m. a week from today, the Broncos have to cut their roster from 90 players to 53. It's one of the worst days in the NFL, but it has to be done. We got 2 preseason games in the books. We've got all of training camp information in our back pocket. So, Henry, on today's DNVR Broncos podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores, we are going to build the Broncos 53-man roster, which will include cuts, but could it include some trades as well? We're going to dive into it on a Taco Tuesday,
yes,
baby. Stay tuned for that in just a second. But before we dive in, tell me if you're buying what Sean Payton is selling and saying right now. This was Sean after the Broncos preseason game this last Saturday night, talking about how difficult it's going to be to cut down the Broncos roster. Sean, take it away.
Yeah, look, I think there are going to be a number of tough decisions, but I'd rather be in that position than the position we were in 2 years ago at this time. And I think, that the talent level has gradually gotten better, and so these guys they're all competing, and we say this to them, and it's serious. Like, we're rooting for all of them. Like, we're rooting for their best, and because I think there's going to be some players that end up on other teams' rosters playing, and that's part of the deal.
You buying that? Do the Broncos have too much talent where they are going to cut guys and have other players be picked up by teams?
I think it's possible for sure. Let's see, last year, 19, 21, there were about 28 players who were picked up off of waivers on cut day. I would imagine the Broncos would fit into that. And because the weird thing is it's all top heavy and bottom heavy, because like the Panthers, they picked up like 5 cornerbacks alone last year, just redid that entire room. And so everything's always a little bit skewed, and it's not as easy as well. There's 32 teams and there's 28 players, so odds are. But I would say I'll actually say no. I don't think anybody gets picked up off of waivers. I think that where the Broncos stand right now, they can keep basically everybody. Yeah, we'll talk when we get there. I think there are a couple who are close, and I say they don't get claimed.
I'm going to say the Broncos have multiple guys picked up off waivers if they don't make a trade or two before in order to kind of get something back for those cuts. Henry, the Broncos are in such a better place now than they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I remember when Nathaniel Hackett was a head coach, the Broncos picked up like 7 guys off of waivers, which is, you just said, last year there were 28 guys in the entire NFL that were picked up off waivers. The Broncos added 7 guys on waivers. That shows how bad the roster was, that they had to pick up 7 guys from other teams in order to help their team, who other teams didn't want. This year, they're in such a better space, and Sean talked about it later after the game, just about how much better the talent is this year than it was just 2 years ago, let alone 3 years ago. And last year, the Broncos did have Demonte Jacobs picked up off of waivers by the Patriots after the Broncos cut him. And when I just look at kind of the back of the roster, I see a lot of NFL talent. Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Bidet, Audric Estime, Blake Watson, J.L. Skinner, Frank Crum, Alex Palchevsky. Those are the guys we're going to be talking about, like, do the Broncos cut him or not? But then, Henry, there's another list of, like, can the Broncos trade some of these guys? And let me tell you this list, because these guys are definitely making NFL teams. Let me make that clear. That's why the Broncos would be able to trade them and get value back. So these are not cut guys. Devon Vele.
I don't think they'd trade him. I think they like him too much, and I think the idea of getting a 6th, 7th round pick for him, I think you'd rather just keep him.
Team says a 4th round pick.
Oh, you take that, but I don't think they would.
And that's what makes it interesting. But I agree.
I think just more valuable to the Broncos than anybody else.
I'm not dumping Devon Vele. And I think you're right. I do think he's more valuable to the Broncos. I mean, he got 43 passes as a rookie last season. He started his rookie season with 8 catches on 8 targets for over 40 yards. I'm keeping him as well. That's a name that I wouldn't be surprised if teams call about, though.
Yeah, might as well.
With the way the Broncos' depth is. Would you consider trading any other receivers? Because we have the conversation. Okay, we know the 6 receivers who are going to make the team. We'll get into that in just a second. But we say you might only dress 5. So if you're only dressing 5, would you entertain trading one of them?
No. Like, injuries pop up, you rotate. Like, if anybody wanted to trade for Courtney Jackson or something, then absolutely. But all those guys, you just don't see receivers claimed on waivers in the first place. So if they're not willing to claim him, I don't think they're willing to trade for him.
And I agree. I don't think he will. I think that's a name just to pay attention to, but I don't think. I think Devon Vele will be a Denver Bronco. How about this one? Jarrett Stidham. Obviously, you're not cutting him, but trade, because I've seen a lot of fans saying, has he played well enough for a team to bite on him?
The thing is, if you wind up, let's just say you're 8-5, and you're in a world where you traded Jarrett Stidham, you're sitting there as Sean Payton saying, like, wait, we've got 3 weeks of Sam Ehlinger because I decided I want a 5th, 6th round pick. It's just not worth that risk. And again, I think he's another one who's more valuable to the Broncos than anybody else. Like, I think at this point, like, I get that he's looked better in the preseason than, the Colts quarterbacks. Or like, there really is a mess down there with the Saints. And that's maybe the one place where if there was one landing spot that could make sense, you're also just throwing him into a brand new offense a week before the season starts. That's not a recipe for success. And if you're going to struggle, you might as well just struggle with the young guys they have there. So I don't think there's going to be too much of a market for Stidham. And, the idea of getting a 5th round pick, you'd much rather just have insurance at quarterback. That's the most important position.
Yeah, you have to have depth at quarterback. So while I've seen a lot of people say maybe the Broncos can trade him, no, it makes no sense. When you are in a Super Bowl window, you have to have a good backup quarterback. More than half the backups in the NFL. In fact, I think it's almost like nearly every backup in the NFL plays at least a little bit in a season. So I'm right there with you, Henry. If this were years ago and the Broncos aren't competing for Super Bowls and you get a guy 4th round pick offered for him, sure, you'd think about it. No, that makes no sense for now, especially because it's clear Jarrett Stidham's a really good backup in this system now. So he can come in and weather the storm if that happens. So I'm right there with you. What if a team calls and offers you something substantial, 3rd, 4th round pick for Jaquan? Because again, you're not cutting him. That's not the conversation. It's, what about a trade?
That's one where I don't think it comes down to compensation. Like, I don't think anybody's giving you that much for him. Okay. But if it was even like a 5th, 6th round pick, I think if you thought the math landed in the right way, you could certainly justify it. So you got obviously him and Jahdae Barron 3 and 4, Chris Abrams-Drain number 5. If you really, really like Chris Abrams-Drain, that's step 1. But you have to really, really like him.
So really quick, do you think the Broncos really, really like him?
Not to that level. To me, I don't. And they might. But I think there's even a part 2 to that, though, which is then what? Like, who else is forcing their way on? Are you saying, like, we're so sure that Jahdae Barrett and Chris Abrams-Drain are better than Jaquan that instead of Jaquan, we'd rather have Damari Mathis for the special teams ability? Like, Reese Taylor was a guy who was really exciting at points, but he's just been hurt he got hurt before the first preseason game, so he hasn't really done anything to make it onto the roster. I haven't seen anything from the undrafted guys to say like you got to keep him around, and because of that, it just doesn't add up. Because again, like right now, you're saying you're probably only keeping 5, so it's not like there's much of a roster crunch right there. So I don't think it makes sense. But if they really like one of the undrafted guys and really, really like Chris Abrams-Drain, then it could make some sense.
I really, really like Chris Abrams-Drain. I thought he had a fantastic rookie season. Didn't get to see a lot of time on the field, but when he did, I think he really took of his opportunity or took advantage of his opportunity, specifically that Chargers game, picking off Justin Herbert, giving the Broncos life in that game. I loved what I've seen from him throughout training camp and especially in preseason. But then I do take a step back and remember the Jerry Jeudy game and the Cleveland Browns when the Broncos were thin at cornerback, and that's a big reason why they went out and they got Jahdae Barron, is to just make sure that they did not run into that scenario this year another time. You'd have to be blown away for an offer for Jaquan because he's probably in your future plans the odd one out, so that's why you would be potentially open to it, but I would have to be blown away by it. I don't think the Broncos are going to be blown away by that, and I'd rather have incredible depth, and especially, this is something that I've already said, but when you're talking about a Super Bowl window, you need depth. But look at Shane Rain and Shaq Barrett on the Super Bowl 50 team. That was a first-round pick and a guy that ended up leading the NFL in sacks just a couple of years later. That's incredible depth. That's the depth you need. So, no, I wouldn't just be willing to dump him.
No. Again, like, who's your 5th corner in that case?
Right.
Because, like, you probably, in a lot of worlds, keep 6, but there just isn't anybody right now who's kind of demanding to be that 6th, and certainly nobody who's fitting of being the 5th.
So, I haven't been able to convince you into any trade yet. Let me know in the Toyota chat. Would you be willing to trade anyone? And if so, who? And then if you're listening to this show later, make sure to let us know in the comments. I read all the comments. There were like 50 comments from yesterday's show. Read them all. Really loved most of them, except for, one or two that that poked right at me.
Oh, geez.
But I know it's really, really tough. But I still appreciate everyone that's tuned in. Let us know. I read them every single day. Okay, Henry. Now the interesting one, the running back room. Do you think, outside of the top 2, so this is J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvinger off the board, do you think a team would trade for any of your other running backs? Tyler Bidet, Audric Estime, Blake Watson?
No. Hard no. I don't think any of them get claimed off of waivers, honestly.
Wow.
Like, when you look back over the past 3 years, 84 players have been claimed off of waivers. 4 of them have been running backs. Like, it's just so easy. Like, so many teams like their 3rd running back. Like, the Broncos are not unique in thinking, like, I don't know, Blake Watson might have something. Like, Tyler Bidet. I don't think, we talked about this a little bit with Jaleel last year. Would anybody claim him on waivers if they just cut him? Maybe he might be like a 50-50. To me, it's honestly less than 50-50. And Audric is so young. Like, there's a case to be made that somebody claims him.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't think anybody's willing to trade for them.
A 7th round pick? No. Because I feel like I can make a case for at least these guys being picked up. Jaleel, he's a really good 3rd running back, and that's why the Broncos might just say, no, simply he's our 3rd running back. Tyler Bidet, when he's played in very limited snaps, he's averaging like 7 yards per carry or something, and he can do it all. He's also a good pass protector. And Audric Estime, extremely young, former 5th round pick. You don't think you can swap that for a 7th round pick?
No.
Okay.
I just don't know who is interested in doing something like that. It's like Cowboys, worst running back room in the NFL. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue, Phil Maffa. Yeah. And that's assuming they cut Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah.
Who I bet they'd rather keep than these guys. Like, you look at
fair.
Like the Seahawks who, with Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, George Olani looks good. There's a chance that Damian Martinez gets cut, and he's somebody who coming in the draft I like better than R.J. Harvey. And in hindsight, I was wrong about that. Sean was right. But, I think it's more likely that you're looking outside and adding a running back than anybody's interested in your running backs.
So now let me run through a couple more names. Stop me if you think any of these guys would be, another team would target them.
Okay.
Not that the Broncos are going to cut these guys, but that a team would target them enough for the Broncos to say, yes, we're interested in a trade. J.L. Skinner, Frank Crum, Dondre Tillman, and Alex Palczewski.
Palcho would definitely get offers. He certainly would. I mean, again,
big Palcho guy.
I mean, he's your best backup offensive lineman, and it isn't really that close. I think
I disagree with that now.
Do you go with Parrott?
Yes. And I think the Broncos have made that clear that it's
They
Parrott.
have through their actions. They paid him, done those sorts of things.
And then also what we've seen in training camp. Win Garrett Bowles.
Yeah. But again, like, I just can't get out of my mind that last year Parrott was benched for Palchevsky. And then when Palcho played...
That was last year.
Definitely. And maybe there's a big difference between the last time we saw him in an actual NFL game and now. I just can't get that far after seeing that. I remember saying when McGlinchey went down, we saw Palchevsky for the first time. I thought they were better with Palchevsky than they were with McGlinchey. And McGlinchey had the slow start, played a lot better the rest of the way. And then Palcho got hurt, so it didn't even matter in the long run. But somebody's certainly looking at that tape and saying, we'll give you something for that.
And I definitely think the same thing with Tillman as well.
Tillman
he
too.
would definitely get something offered. I don't know if you want to trade that depth, though, because it's pretty darn good depth and young depth. So interesting. I'm curious if we'll find any trades when we go through this roster. And let's do that.
I've got one more.
Okay, yes.
PJ is the one where I think it could make some sense. And I think I still don't think it would happen. I wouldn't do it. But if there was one guy who got traded and I got $1 million if I got the name right, I would go with PJ. Or even $10. I guess it's just more fun to think about the million. He's important because Talanoa is always hurt. And if Talanoa had like consistent health in his background, it'd be a lot easier to say, like, do we like a couple of these other guys? Because Sam Franklin's on the team. Is there one young guy who you'd rather get those reps? And they like Keidron Smith. He's made the 53-man roster before. There just isn't anybody who's done enough. JL Skinner has not done enough in training camp to be like, you know what, we want him instead. So I'd still say no, but I could kind of see it. Last year of a deal and you saved $6 million.
Yeah, and with PJ, you mentioned it. He's a starter too. Like, he can be a starter in the NFL, and maybe he would be a starter this year if he didn't have the crazy back surgery that he had to have. Maybe the Broncos don't go out and get Hufanga. So they really like him, especially as a backup. Okay, let's dive into some tough decisions that the Broncos are going to have to make after I give a shout out to our friends over at Factor. Henry, when training camp started a month ago, I just had no time to make food anymore. So got to turn to a place that's going to give me delicious food, healthy food, and make it easy for me, because Factor helps me eat smarter with tasty chef-prepared meals that are dietitian approved and delivered straight to my door. And they have more than 65 weekly meals that you can choose from and that are absolutely delicious and easy and healthy. I love it because of how much variety they have. I've had Factor delivered to me many, many times, always something different, whether it's different flavors, different meat, different vegetables. There's so many different things. It always keeps it fresh. And if you want to get 50% off your first box, use the code DNVR Broncos 10. I'm sorry, DNVR Broncos 50 off, because it's 50% off over at factormeals.com/DNVR Broncos 50 off, and use that code DNVR Broncos 50 off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That is incredible, especially in busy times of life. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
And shout out to American Financing. If you are buying a new home, American Financing is the place to go, especially if you're in Colorado. You're not the only one who might be trying to buy right now, but now might be your best shot. We're officially in a buyer's market. That means that you've got the upper hand. There are more homes on the market. The competition is down. There are deals out there that are waiting to be found. So if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're looking to upgrade, you're looking to downgrade, downsize, they say, now's the time to get pre-approved with American Financing, and they can do it in 24 hours or less. Here's the kicker. When you work with both American Financing and their partner, American Home Agents, you can save an additional 1% up to $10,000 on your home loan. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines, it's time to jump in. American Financing is the place to start. Don't let the 20% down myth stop you. You could buy a home with as little as 3% down, and with down payment assistance programs available, getting into a home might be easier than you think. 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000 or AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Let us know in the comment section, whether you're tuning in live or later, if you would trade anyone. And Henry, this conversation that we've had and have coming up has got me hungry for some tacos, baby.
Yes.
Taco Tuesday on the DNVR Broncos podcast. And we are celebrating with our favorite tacos. Our friends over at Taco Bell are helping us celebrate. And we got to freeze the very new Baja Midnight. It's their new Baja Blast flavor. And Henry, do you have? Oh, you don't have your taco box, Henry. What are we doing?
Give me my box.
Here's your buff box. Too. Your buff box. Tell us what is in. Let's do a little unpacking of this buff box.
Oh, the cinnamon twists, of course.
Oh,
those are my girlfriend's favorite. Yep. You've got the Doritos Loco Taco.
This Baja Blast is
you do like the sugar.
Incredible.
The
I like
cheesy
the
gordita crunch, I believe. Yes.
I love the
crunch.
freeze.
And the beefy 5-layer burrito.
You can never go wrong with Taco Bell, but especially at 10:20 in the morning to kick your day off with the Baja Blast.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely.
And you can get 2 cheesy chalupa shells stuffed with layers of melty blend of cheese, then filled with your choice of carnitas, slow roasted, grilled, or chicken with steak as well, topped with flavorful, creamy jalapeno ranch style and chopped cilantro and onions. Are you kidding me? Taco Bell is the only restaurant that you can get this new delicious midnight Baja Blast. Henry, what are you diving into right now?
Beefy 5-layer burrito. Best thing on the menu. I like the Doritos Locos Tacos. Also the cheesy Fiesta potatoes.
So
underrated.
You're like, this is my favorite thing. You just listed
because they're all different categories.
Oh my gosh, you thought I was amped before the show. After just a couple of sips of this, I'm ready to go, baby. And if you want to fuel up and celebrate Taco Tuesday, you can do that over at Taco Bell.
Wow.
Amazing.
That was the most sophisticated sip of Taco Bell Baja Blast Midnight I've ever seen in my life.
So freaking good. Oh my gosh, I'm just looking at that 5-layer beefy cheesy burrito. We might have to do the Lady and the Tramp with that burrito.
Nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You and Yaya can do it.
Yeah, here, get over here. Come on.
What are we doing?
The Lady and the Tramp with the burrito.
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, Taco Bell, not that much.
We love Taco Bell. Shout out for them giving us some Taco Bell Tuesday today. Okay, let's dive in. Now that we're fueled, we're ready to go. Let's dive in to roster cunts. Henry, you want to start with offense or defense?
Let's go offense.
Let's go offense.
People like the offense.
And let's start with the quarterback position. Last year, the Broncos kept 3 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's the case this year. Do you disagree?
I don't think so either. But I do think going into this, it's important to remember you get to put 2 guys on IR on cutdown day and still have them able to come back. And so to me,
they got to sit out 4 weeks of the season, but then they can come back. Everyone else that goes on IR has to miss the whole year.
Nate Adkins and Drew Sanders. Seems like it's that easy, right? So there you go.
So there's nothing with quarterbacks here. I thought you were going to be like, maybe try to do this with Sam Ehlinger.
Yep. But when you start there, let's get into this too. I think Michael Burton, you probably do the same practice squad thing with him.
As you've just always done.
Exactly. So there's a third spot. And I think, they've done that same thing with Calvin Throckmorton. And I think that they probably do that exact same thing with him once again. So I think that that's your 4. Now, Calvin might be more debatable, but so what they did last year was they moved him to the practice squad. They didn't activate him on game days, but he was essentially your second guard, I guess, off the bench behind Palshevsky. So on game days, you go Palshevsky. If you need to bump Forsyth over, you can do that in an emergency on a game day. But if you actually need a sub for a full game as a backup, then that's when you call Throckmorton up.
Yep, I like that. And
so there's 4 extra spots, which is a lot more wiggle room.
And that's absolutely the roster manipulation that Sean Payton and George Payton are going to use. It's brilliant that they do that, and they are going to take advantage of it. So, like you said, you just went from 53 to 57 now before even building your practice squad. And
when you're talking 53, the answer is no, you don't keep Sam Ehlinger. When you're building 57, it's still probably no. But sometimes you get to the end and think like, I don't know. So, but for now, we can say no.
Yeah, we're saying no.
Okay.
And I think we're going to say no. I think this team is too deep.
Yes.
Bye-bye, Sam. But don't worry, you'll be back in 24 hours. We're going to sign you to the practice squad tomorrow because we like you. We just don't love you like we did with Zach Wilson to keep you.
We aren't worried about
the
anybody
squad.
claiming you. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
2 quarterbacks claimed in the past 3 years.
Let's dive to the running back position. Let's just dive head first into this conversation because, Henry, where do we go here? This might be the most difficult position on the roster. And actually, Sean Payton also talked about this position after the game.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me if you are buy what he's selling again with where things stand with the running back room. Let's hear from Sean.
Yeah, the plan was early on, it was RJ. And then it was going to be RJ, obviously Bidet was going to get work, then Jaleel, Audric, and then Blake. We knew we wanted 2/3 of the game to get to Blake and Audric. And I think we were able to accomplish that. Now, again, it's not an exact science, but those guys got a lot of work. And I thought they did a good job with their opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah, the plan.
Has nothing changed?
The plan was
with the running back room?
Ooh, it may have changed, but there's no reason it can't change again. Like I think the expectation is basically every day there's change, and then one day that it all just cuts off. So sure, there's been change. There could very easily be much bigger change in the next week.
I totally agree with you, and I think there has been change. I think Tyler Bidet has jumped on the roster and maybe even jumped Jaleel for the third running back spot. I think Sean Payton really likes Bidet for a couple of reasons. One,
agree.
Good running back, can receive out of the backfield, but also I feel that Sean just trusts Tyler Bidet when it comes to pass protection, when it comes to knowing everything. And Jaleel is explosive. He's difficult to tackle. I just don't know he's an all-around running back. And you have your power guy with JK. You have your weapon and your future with RJ Harvey. And you also, you don't really need a different sort of back with your third back because you have it all covered with your top 2 backs. So that's why I think you kind of go with the all-purpose guy that you can trust. Henry, I think in the past 10 days, Tyler Bidet has earned himself a roster spot.
I can't go that far. I do think that it's him and Jaleel who have separated themselves. And Jaleel, as the incumbent, I think he was in the favorable position of having produced in the NFL before, being able to like look back and say like, hey, this guy can do it. And he's given no reason to have any of that change. I know the numbers weren't good for the first preseason game, but he also had like an awesome run called back. This year, you give him the ball 3 times, he picks up 48 yards. Like Jaleel, to me, this preseason has been just like, hand him the ball. Oh, look, he's still the best. Hand him the ball. Oh, look, he's still the best. And I agree. Tyler Bidet has done a lot. I don't think it's enough to surpass Jaleel McLaughlin. But as of today, when we're doing this show, I do think that those are the only 2 really in the conversation to make the roster with, Audric and all those guys. Easy cuts at this point.
So then let me ask you, because we don't really have to determine the order of the depth chart here, so we don't need to get in that nitty gritty. Has Bidet done enough to earn a 4th spot as a running back?
I did not have him on mine. Because I think when you get down to the end of this and you have a couple roster spots back and you look through the list of names, there's a big portion of it that's just who is actually just going to be on the practice squad anyway. And to me, he's one who's nobody's claiming him. And it's nothing against him, but again, there've been 4 running backs claimed in the past 3 years. I don't think that he's quite up to that level. And even if you do lose him, your consolation prize is Blake Watson, and I don't think that there's a big gap there. But I do think it's notable that he does he's your second best pass protector behind J.K. Dobbins, and that counts for something. And that's the real case for him. I don't know. I had him off.
And J.K. Dobbins, I mean, realistically, probably going to miss a couple of games. So you won another good pass protector. That's why I actually, in a shocking move, I never thought they were going to keep 4 running backs. I think they keep 4 running backs now, and I think it is Jaleel, and I do think it is Tyler Bidet. But Henry, you're back at the roster, Hank, so I will defer to you on this.
Are we crossing off?
Okay.
Let's leave him for now, and we can see what we come down to.
So I'm sorry, Blake Watson. I'm sorry, Audric Estime. I think Blake Watson's for sure on the practice squad.
Yep.
I don't know about Audric Estime. Well, we would have to see about that. Maybe he would choose to go to a different team's practice squad. Not sure there, but I mean, that conversation with Audric. We didn't even have one. And it's as simple as that. Yep. Okay, let's move on to the tight end position. Evan Ingram, Locke. Adam Trautman, Locke.
So I didn't have him on my locks list. I do think that's why I think the locks were a little bit interesting. Because like him, I was conservative with it. Him, PJ Locke, Nate Adkins, Drew Sanders. There was a list. But I think
with Drew and Nate, you already said what's happening. Nate Adkins, he's on IR, going to miss the first 4 weeks, but he's safe with this team. Adam Trautman, Sean Payton absolutely loves him. He actually has had a good preseason and training camp. He's a lock.
Yep.
So now, do the Broncos keep 3 tight ends? Do they keep 4 tight ends? And then also, what are the Broncos doing with Michael Burton? Practice squad?
Practice squad. Yep.
Okay, so
you can give him a little asterisk on there.
So he doesn't take a roster spot there. Yep. So now it's down to Lucas Kroll, Caleb Lohner, Caden Prescorn. I think this is easy. I think they keep 3 tight ends because Nate Adkins going to the practice squad, and I think it's Caleb Lohner who gets his spot on the team. I think Lucas Kroll is a practice squad guy that when injuries happen will get elevated to be on the roster, and Caden as well. I think is a practice squad guy.
I think that week 1, you want to go out there and 12 personnel. Like, I'm not sure what the rate was last year, probably 10% of the Broncos snaps, 2 tight ends on the field. I think that you've got to have 2 guys who are capable of blocking. And Lohner isn't. He's game day inactive to start, you would think. And I think that's why you keep Kroll or Prescorn. And I went Kroll, but I think it's close.
As a blocker?
I mean, we're comparing him to Ingram and Lohner. It's not great.
I'd put Ingram out there as a blocker.
In front of Kroll?
Yep. He is an asterisk.
Yeah. He's going to injured reserve.
Yep. Wow. I would not.
You wouldn't?
No.
Okay.
I think it's Ingram, Trautman, Adkins if he wasn't on IR, and Lohner. I think it's as straightforward as that.
Interesting. See, I was more tempted to keep all of them than I was to cut one.
Wow.
Because when you get down to the end, and again, like I think Prescorn, there's a chance that he gets claimed on waivers. I think Kroll as well. Like I would say more so than Bidet, not because they're better players, but just because those guys are tougher to find. And but again, it's tough. For now, let's go. Let's leave them for now and come back and see what the numbers are like.
Okay.
Are we gonna have time to do all this? Yeah.
Yeah. We got to go quick.
We'll have to go quick. Receivers are easy.
And we will get to that conversation after I give a shout out to our friends over at Bet365, where if you want to get in on preseason action for the final week of preseason, Bet365 is the place to go. If you want to get in on Rockies baseball, or more importantly, if you want to get in on week 1 of the NFL season, plus all your season-long prop bets, you can do that over at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Deposit $10, place a $5 bet, and you're going to get $150 in bonus bets after using that code DNVR365. Broncos are the biggest favorite in week 1, and I think they're going to easily cover. They got Cam Ward in week 1. Week 2, the line probably should have just increased because they get to go against Daniel Jones. Over at Bet365, you might be able to bet on a 2-0 start for the Broncos. I would do that in a heartbeat. Broncos are starting 2-0, and you could place that bet with $150 in bonus bets after using the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, once help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
And shout out to Coors Light. Coors Light's just the best. I think today's going to be a good day for Coors Light, actually. So this morning went into the periodontist because I'm supposed to have a gum graft. Got bad news. Turns out I need to go to orthodontist because the tooth isn't in the bone, so I'm doing that later. Got work in between, going to be writing a bunch. But when this day is over and I just get to have my Coors Light, it's going to be a good night. Especially Rockies game will still be on at that point. I can't wait. Anytime you want to choose chill, Coors Light is the answer. You know about Coors Light. When the mountains turn blue, it's cold. They're just the best. It's cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged. Make the most out of times you want chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado beer.
All right, Henry, let's jump over to the offensive line and let's go. So you obviously have the starters. Yeah, Quinn, Garrett, Luke, Mike, Ben, all locks. I also think Parrott is a lock as well to be your 6th offensive lineman, your swing tackle there. Where do we go from here?
I think Parrott, Palshevsky, and Forsyth are the locks to me.
Parrott,
I think those are the 3 that are kind of non-negotiable. I think Throckmorton, I think in a perfect world, left tackle goes down, it's probably Parrott. Right tackle or one of your guards go down, it's Palshevsky. If you needed another guard, it's Throckmorton, but you could do that the next week. You know, it's similar to the quarterback conversation where it's like if you have 3, then that means if you're really screwed, you could keep the 3rd. I think given that you have Forsyth who's capable of playing guard, he can be your game day 3rd string guard behind Palshevsky in the starter. But if somebody goes down for real, then the next week, Throckmorton, you call it from the practice squad for a week. So in that way, there's only 8 guys you have to keep on the roster. When push came to shove, I threw Clay Webb and Frank Crum on. Frank Crum was the last addition to this team for me.
So how many? You kept
10.
You kept 10.
Yep.
I think Clay Webb doesn't make it.
You don't think so?
I think we'll go with those 9 though.
Okay. It reminds me so much of Frank Crum last year.
Yeah.
Where Frank Crum is your highest paid free agent, doesn't look good in camp. You keep him anyway. Clay Webb, highest paid undrafted free agent, but he actually does look good in camp. I think that's one where when you're looking through this list of like, is Clay Webb going to get claimed or is Tyler Bidet going to get claimed? The answer is Clay Webb. 23% of all waiver claims past 3 years have been offensive linemen.
Okay, I can defer to you here. I don't think that'll be the case. I think the Broncos will go with 9 and the other ones that we mentioned. I don't think Webb makes it, but we'll go with that there. So a lot of love to the big guys, which is not a surprise. Does Adam Prentice make this team at fullback? Okay, so no.
Well, assuming Michael Burton's healthy week 1. Otherwise, things kind of get weird. Then there's but again, we saw Caden Prescorn. So typically it's Adkins, who's your backup fullback, also hurt. That's what makes it so tough. Prescorn in this preseason game was your 3rd fullback. Could that help his case?
Yeah, for sure it helps his
case. But as of now, I'm going to say Burton's good enough to go.
Okay, wide receivers, I think it's pretty clear. It's Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Cortland Sutton, Devon Vele, Trent Sherfield, and Pat Bryant.
Yep.
Boom.
It's those 6.
Just like that, easy enough. All right. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. What are we at right now numbers-wise?
That's a good question.
I guess we still haven't cut down, so we'll wait until we do the defense right now. Let's go defensive line. You got Zach Allen. You got Malcolm Roach. You got JFM. You have Savion Jones. To me, those are 4 absolute locks. I know, Henry, you're going to put any in there.
I didn't. I've got DJ Jones in there, though.
Oh, did I not say DJ?
No, so that's 5.
I'm sorry. Let's do that again. Zach Allen, DJ Jones, Malcolm Roach, JFM, Savion Jones. That's 5. And then Jordan Jackson?
Yep.
As 6?
Yep.
You going more than that?
I didn't. It came down to me.
You didn't have any in there.
It came down to who's more likely to get claimed, Uzarike or who else was in there. I guess Kroll / Prescorn and Crum were kind of the end of the list. And I wound up going with the other guys.
See, I think the Broncos would actually go deep at defensive line. And I think they'd keep any. I think they go 7 at defensive line.
I mean, I don't think they're against it. I think, again, but it's just a question of who's most likely to get claimed off of waivers. Because none of these guys are active on game days. You know, like Frank Crum, he's not seeing a uniform all year. Inu Uzarike, if all goes well, not seeing a uniform all year. It's just a question of how do you keep all of them in the building. And I don't think you're wrong by saying Uzarike is the one who gets claimed, but I don't know.
I for sure thought you were just going to... I would almost thought that you would have had him as a lock right now to make the team. So let us know in the Twitter chat, or if you're listening later in the comments, do you think any makes this 53-man roster?
Yeah, it's a tough one. He's one of those guys right there on that bubble.
So what do you think?
I wouldn't know.
Okay,
but
for right now, we will go no. Outside linebacker... How straightforward is this one? You got Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, Jonah Ellis, locks. Q Robinson, I would say, is a lock as well. So you got those 4. Tillman. Yep. So that's 5. Then Garrett Nelson and Andrew Farmer don't make it. Yep. I think outside linebacker is simple as well. Is inside linebacker just as simple? Alex Singleton, lock. Justin Sternad, lock. Dre Green, lock. Lavelle Bailey, lock.
Justin Sternad.
I think I said him.
Oh, did you?
I do think so.
Okay.
Yeah, this time I think I did.
Then Drew Sanders on IR.
Yep, Drew Sanders on IR.
And I had the other three. I've got the other three out.
I agree.
Yeah, especially because, like, do you like Karene Reid? Do you like Jordan Turner?
That
if one gets claimed, guess what? You just take the other.
That Drew Sanders injury was good for the Broncos because it made this so
helps
simple.
The numbers.
Yeah. You wanted to keep these five inside linebackers. One of them got hurt, so now you don't have to worry about like cutting from another position. Not good for Drew, but like it helps them there. Cornerback, how straightforward? Pat Surtain, Locke. Riley Moss, Locke. Jahdae Barron, Locke. If you don't trade Jaquan, he's a lock. We're at 4 now. Chris Abrams-Drain, lock. Any other locks I'm missing?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said earlier, if there was an undrafted free agent there'd be a strong case to get to that spot. Again, it's DBs and linemen who get claimed on waivers. But there just hasn't been that guy. Damari Mathis is one of your better special teamers. And when you don't have receivers who are good, like gunners, jammers on the boundary, other than Trent Sherfield, none of your other cornerbacks are good at that. You're lacking some speed on special teams. And Damari Mathis gives you that. I don't put him on the team.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I do think like
it's a fair point to bring
That's probably one that Darren Rizzi's staying there saying like, who the hell am I gonna like? That he could be one of our most important special teamers.
And they say you got to find it somewhere else because I think they only go 5 a
It's like, we'll give you Jahdae. I'm sure he could figure out how to do it. And it's like,
yep.
We'll see.
Yep. But so we're just going those 5.
Yep.
All right. Now safety, you got Hufanga. You have Brandon Jones. You have PJ Locke.
Yep.
Barring a trade. And you have Sam Franklin.
Yeah. To me, he's a lock. I mean,
I know he's your guy.
It's another one of those special team signings similar to Trent Sherfield. The difference being like you fully guaranteed Sam Franklin's contract. They've given out 14 minimum contracts to veterans in the Sean Payton era. A couple guys didn't make the team. Angelo Blackson didn't make the team. Michael Burton did make the team. And it turns out 9 of those 14 wind up making the team. So odds are those guys that they sign, they keep. He's the only one of them to get a fully guaranteed deal. So he's top of that list. He's good on special teams. I think he's a lock.
Anyone else from the safety room? Does JL Skinner make it? DTY? Devon Key, sorry.
To me, it's Keedron Smith and JL Skinner that are close. I did include Skinner, but again, it's special teams.
I mean, that would be a special teams move.
Keedron Smith can also do that. Hasn't proven it quite to that level, but has played a bunch of special teams for the Broncos already. And I think when it comes down to like, there's those two. Again, it's Crum. Honestly, Crum is right on the bubble too. I think Crum. Clay Webb, Inu Azarike, those running backs, like some of those guys you're going to have to try to get through waivers. Some of them you need to keep because of special teams. So I think, again, that's a tiebreaker here.
So then, Henry, I'm going JL Skinner to make this team. And it's actually JL. There's no periods after the J or the L. Yeah. Just a heads up you hear.
It's kind of fun.
Unless it stands for Jaquarius
Lynx.
Jaquarius Lynx, as he joked after he was drafted.
Yep. That's what he stood for.
So we are going to go with JL making it. So 10 guys in the defensive back room. Those numbers add up pretty well. And then you get Will Lutz, you get Jeremy Crawshaw, and you get Mike Mitchell for Boney.
I think Jeremy Crawshaw's safe.
Give me
let's
break.
say if he has another preseason game like the last two, or
last one was
a worse game, it wasn't good. If he has a game, if his worst game is this one, I still think he's probably safe for like the first month of the season. I did take a look at the 5 teams that have 2 punters. We're going in order of least interesting to most interesting. Ryan Wright, Oscar Chapman. Chapman's a rookie competing in Minnesota, whatever. Pittsburgh has our old friend Corliss Waitman. Also has Cameron Johnson. Could have another Cameron Johnson in Denver.
Wow.
Again, that's very uninteresting. That's why it's so early in the list. The Saints have Kai Kroger and your favorite punter in the draft, James Burnip. If he loses the job, he could be on waivers.
But Broncos told me that they didn't like James as much since they drafted Jeremy first.
But again, like, could that have changed based on what we've seen? Fourth, we've got Miami with Jake Bailey and Ryan Stonehouse. One of those two is going to be on waivers, one of the league's better punters or Ryan Stonehouse. Also, the 49ers have 33-year-old Pat O'Donnell, 39-year-old Thomas Morstead. Thomas Morstead, of course, being Sean's punter for all those years in New Orleans.
Yep.
And I still think you're not going to be tempted, but if one of those guys is sitting out there and Crawshaw looks the same 6 weeks from now as he looks now, then that's probably when the conversation starts.
Yeah,
Probably
but the Broncos they're rolling the dice with the talent that Jeremy Crawshaw has. So
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, Henry, but it's not what the Broncos are going to do. They're going to keep
You don't think
him.
Sean's tempted by his old friend Thomas Morstead?
No,
Not
I
even
don't think
tempted?
so. I mean, Sean's always tempted by former
See,
Saints.
exactly. See the name pop up on the waiver wire.
Maybe a little tempted. But I do think it's going to be those. Yahir is giving us a number count that we're at 55. So we have 2 more moves to make.
So we have to cut a couple running backs and receivers.
and a tight end, actually. Running
Or
backs
tight
and
ends,
tight
yes.
ends.
And let's do that after I give a shout out to our friends over at Volo Sports. You want to be active? You want to play sports? That's something that I miss so much about being in school, whether it's after school sports or sports at recesses, just being able to play sports all the time. Our friends over at Volo Sports are going to hook you up with being able to play all the time because adulting sucks. That's their logo. So play kickball, play really any sport that you could imagine: soccer, volleyball, pickleball, basketball, cornhole, and so many more. Playing with Volo is a great way to meet new people, make friends, be social, and stay active in a fun way. Don't go on a run by yourself.
No.
Go play a sport in a park with friends. It's a lot more fun, plus social time. And you're going to get $10 off by using the code DNVR10 off any Volo Denver league. Players can sign up as free agents, small groups, full teams, and all ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use that code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver league.
And shout out to Monarch Money. Again, if you're like me, who has a big bill coming from the periodontist, a big bill coming from the orthodontist, then potentially another big bill from the periodontist, Monarch Money is the way to go because they can help you track all of that stuff. They're the best. Wall Street Journal said that they're the best budgeting app of 2025. They've got 5-star reviews from all sorts of people, 30,000 different people, including some experts, people who know what they're talking about, and people like me who don't know what they're talking about, but still know that it's really nice and convenient to have that. Financial stress is one of the top reasons relationships fall apart. Monarch makes money conversations easier. It's easier to track. It's all just right there, and it's all in one. It has all your accounts, credit cards, investments. You always know where your money stands without the hassle. They'll make it easy for you. So get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DNVR.
All right. I have been watching the Toyota chat, and they're begging for Audric Estime to be cut.
They really are.
On this list.
It's the right answer.
Yeah. He will not be on this team. Just the fall from grace that he's had. I mean, just a couple months ago, he was a third running back. Now they were hoping he was a second running back. Now he's fallen to maybe the bottom of the depth chart there. So Estime's gone. I believe that means we have 54 guys on the roster. We need to make one more cut in the Twitter chat. And if you're watching later, let us know who that is and who are the final couple guys making it. Henry, you said Frank Crum was one of the last guys on your roster making it. Who in the Twitter chat, and if you're watching later, let us know in the comments, who would you want to make sure makes the team that's kind of at the back of the roster right now? Henry, you had something to say. Oh, and also hit us with the thumbs up. So many thumbs up yesterday's. We really appreciate that. Again, you can hit the thumbs up live, but you can also hit it if you're watching later. We really appreciate it.
So just looking at this now, let's start guys who are kind of on the edge who we could consider right here. Oh, we got Cross Throckmorton off. Throckmorton's practice squad. Is that?
I don't know about that.
Did you not count him?
Yeah.
He's practice squad.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's what they did last year.
What they did last year.
Yeah.
This is a new year. They kept 3 quarterbacks last year. Doesn't mean they're keeping 3 quarterbacks this year.
Well, okay, if it's not Throckmorton on the practice squad, it's one of those vets who they're going to say, like, just go, we're putting you on the practice squad for the first few weeks.
Well, so who is it? We can't
It's
just
Throckmorton. Yeah, and I mean, we can adjust some of these.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening because you got Nate Adkins on IR. So you've got an insurance policy for just 4 weeks down the road.
Yeah, but I think that's a decision you make then. I think, again, like if you have a free roster spot, you take the free roster spot.
Yeah, and you use it where it works best.
Okay, where?
I don't think Priesthorn Prescorn makes this roster.
We have him off.
Oh yeah, Lucas Kroll. Sorry, I already had cut him. He's not on this team.
Because Hank disagreed. That's why I was like,
Caleb Lohner is this is one I'm going to go to bat for. This is Sean's guy. This is and Lucas Kroll. They feel comfortable about Caleb Lohner almost doing everything that Lucas Kroll can do right now, let alone for the future. And I do believe that Evan Ingram's a better blocker than Lucas Kroll right now. I'm sorry, Lucas. Despite being the best player on the team last offseason in OTAs, actually, Sean completely shut that down. He's going to be on the practice squad.
That could be. I don't think they're keeping 11 offensive linemen. I think it's so easy just to move. Like, I don't think they're keeping 11 offensive linemen either. So if you can get the free roster spot by moving Throckmorton to the practice squad, why wouldn't you?
Because you're worried.
Because he's not dressing on game days anyway.
He put out really good tape. You're worried about
nobody
him
can
being
claim
poached.
him. Nobody can claim him. He's a vet.
He could choose to go somewhere else.
But I mean, he's one of the Sean guys. That's why they did it with him last year. It's the same thing with Burton. Burton could choose to go somewhere else, but you still do it. I don't know why you're opposed to the free roster spot.
How do we have 10 guys? Oh, I don't think Clay Webb makes it.
I mean, again, but I would say if Clay Webb doesn't make it, you should keep any instead and like keep somebody instead of just wasting the roster spot on Throckmorton.
Okay, so Throckmorton, Henry, despite you deserving this, has cut you.
I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing as before. He's not your top guard off the bench. Like, it's that easy. Yeah, let's double check these numbers. Well, and if we want to keep any instead of Clay Webb, we can do that. But and other guys who we could also include.
Do that. I think any makes this team over Clay Webb.
That could be.
I'd bet on him.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
What do you mean? No, I
think this is also where the Damari Mathis conversation comes into play because that's going to be a guy.
No, it doesn't.
Well, no, I know the defensive coaches hate him. They think he's terrible. But also, you have Darren Rizzi.
Yeah.
Again, Tremon Smith.
The Rizzler.
Way worse than Damari Mathis was at cornerback, but you keep him for the special teams.
But we had that conversation with JL Skinner, and I think they choose JL Skinner over a different position on defense, but in terms of special teams, I think he's pounded the table for JL.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
man. There we go. That makes
just
more
brings
sense.
The
These
bad
numbers
news,
weren't adding up.
makes it even worse. We got to cut one more, and I want to find a spot for any on this team too. So let's see if we can cut two, Henry.
Do we cut Clay Webb and Lucas Kroll? And then you get
if you'd like.
That's what I think the Broncos would be doing.
Okay.
So I think the Broncos would be doing. But Henry, I don't want to.
Webb instead of Crum?
We're a team here. Webb.
I think Webb's more likely to be claimed than Crum. But again, like if you think one player is one way more valuable than the other.
I don't know about Frank Crum. And I mean that in all sincerity. I have no idea. It shocked me that they kept him last year. They loved his raw tools. Those raw tools haven't gone anywhere. He has developed. Is he a perfect product? No, obviously not.
Does it help that Ben Powers could be in his last year? Unless he kind of takes a step forward, you'd imagine he's replaced and Webb could be part of that competition.
I don't know if... I haven't heard anything about Webb from the building.
Interesting. They showed you with the money. But I mean, they did the same thing with Crum last year.
I thought you meant me. They showed me
the
money.
No.
I was like, where is the money then? Must have got lost in my buff box for Taco Bell. So we're cutting one more.
Yes. And did we flip any in?
Yeah, I cut Clay Webb and Lucas Kroll. Put any in there.
Our cap guy just did that.
There you go.
Are we just sticking with it, or are we going to argue with him?
Caleb Lohner a uniform week 1.
You don't draft. I feel Caleb Lohner's going to get claimed if you put him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
You have to give Caleb Lohner the.
Caleb Lohner's absolutely on the roster.
Let us know in the Twitter chat or comments below. Does Caleb Lohner make this team?
He 100%
okay.
makes the team.
I see what you're saying. You're saying you're making a case for another tight end to make the roster too, so that he gets a jersey.
One who's more valuable week 1.
Comments are also begging for a backup guard. So you guys have been.
I think you're worried about.
Do we not have a backup guard?
Well, the thing is, Alex Forsythe plays guard. Alex Palshevsky plays guard. Yeah, we did cut Webb, who would be your other one. But Webb's not playing this year regardless. Let's knock on wood when we say things like that.
Yeah, see, you just want to cut Calvin Throckmorton, the dude that was destroying guys on Saturday night.
Yeah.
I get why you're saying it.
Yeah, it's a free roster.
I'm just saying it's...
He's still on the team.
Well, if
but boy, when this goes out on Twitter, you're not cutting Michael Burton. They're not cutting Throckmorton. Like they're not cutting. Oh, Nate Adkins has the apostrophe or asterisk.
Yep.
Also, like if we bring back Throckmorton, who goes? Gerald Skinner? Is that the guy on the bubble, Frank Crubb?
Skinner could go. You probably just need him for special teams.
On the bubble as well.
Yeah.
So then...
But again, like this pinch isn't as bad as it was a few weeks ago before the 2 injuries, you know?
Right.
It changes the numbers a bit.
100%. Okay, so we're good. We're at 53?
Nashville, Tennessee makes a good point that if you keep Crawshaw, does that count as an extra roster spot because he's Australian?
It's a great question, Nashville, Tennessee, and no. That the roster exemption only helps on your 90-man and your practice squad. So it helps in the offseason and it helps for your practice squad. Once the 53 comes around, it does not help with the 53. As Broncos Tube said, stop the count. We are at 53 right now.
Yep.
So what I want to do right now, I want you here to read me some of the big names that we have cut. And Henry, I want to ask you the question again when we're going through these names. Could the Broncos make any trades for any of these guys? You hear? Take us through some of the guys that we've cut.
Audric Estime, Blake Watson, Lucas Kroll, Courtney Jackson, A.T. Perry. The crowd loves that one.
The crowd loves A.T. Perry. Could be good on the practice squad.
We also have Karene Reid, who Henry loves, Damari Mathis.
Yep.
DTY and Demonkey are the big names that are kind of been left out. And then from guards, it could be somebody like Throckmorton or Clay Webb.
Yeah. Potentially Webb.
Yeah, Throckmorton, if you let him go, you just hope that a team doesn't give him more than the Broncos would be able to give him in like a full-time spot. That's the only one. From the offensive line, Clay Webb as well. Henry, I totally see your argument. I don't think you can trade him. He was just an undrafted free agent, and team could have picked him up. Team could have offered him more. They'd rather do that than give up roster spot. The one here is the running backs because of Audric Estime's potential 5th-round pick last year. Could you flip him for a 7th-round pick? We're not talking big returns for any of these guys, but hey, a 7th-round pick could turn into Jonathan Cooper. We saw George Payton do that with Coop. Maybe. I wouldn't totally discount it. People might say, well, the Broncos totally ruined Audric Estime. We're going to save him. We want a shot at him, so we'll give a 7th round. Maybe it's even a pick swap, something like there. I do think George Payton is going to be working the phones a lot. Maybe gets a deal done in a trade. Maybe not.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there's a trade. I think for there to be a trade, it has to be a big trade. It has to be Jaquan or PJ or one of those guys. It's tough to imagine any trades on the edges.
And for me, it's hard to imagine a significant trade just because that would go against the all-in, the Super Bowl talk right now. You need depth. Good teams not only have good starters, but they have good depth. Right now, the Broncos have pretty good depth because, Henry, we had this conversation earlier in the show. Do you think another team will pick up one of these Broncos players that are cut? Now the conversation is, will the Broncos pick up anyone on waivers? And no, I don't think so. I think the Broncos are too deep where they're not going to be looking for other people's scraps. That it shows a very good team that they have.
Do you guys see anybody that actually made the roster getting traded? We talk about Jaquan, but maybe a guy like John Franklin Myers last year on the deal.
It's too good.
It's a good question you hear, and that would totally go against the all-in right now.
Yeah.
Unless it would have to be John Franklin Myers demanding it for you to go that direction.
Yeah.
Because every Super Bowl team, once you win a Super Bowl, you're going to have guys that leave to go get paid somewhere else. John Franklin Myers could be a perfect example of that, saying that the Broncos go and win a Super Bowl. He will go out and get tons of money.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't see them actually moving anybody good for that reason.
And then we have people throwing out other guys that we didn't talk about. Donald says Joaquin Davis is sneaky good and really fast. There's a lot of guys, Courtney Jackson, Joaquin Davis, that are going to make the practice squad, that are guys that you tell, hey, we can't keep you, but do not leave town. Don't leave where you are right now. You're coming back on the practice squad. The Broncos are also going to have a good practice squad as well. So we got Hydro also saying Courtney Jackson belongs. Totally agree. This happens in 1 week. 1 week, 3 hours, and 1 minute, actually 28 seconds, is when these roster cuts happen, Henry.
Yep.
So we're going to be following it. We got more shows this week. We are about to go to practice right now. Watch the Broncos practice and report back tomorrow. We're talking to Sean Payton today, so make sure to stay tuned. We're going to be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow with another show. We really appreciate everyone who's joining us today. Hit us with a thumbs up. Make sure to comment in the Twitter chat, or if you're tuning in later, comment below. We appreciate all of you. And most importantly, have a terrific Taco Tuesday. That'll do it for us. We'll see you on a Hump Day Wednesday.
We all silly like the mayor.